Hi, third grade. So I've got a big question for you here today. So if holy eating is when we don't mix milk stuff and meat stuff together, and we don't eat milk stuff and meat stuff together, and we don't cook meat stuff and milk stuff together, here's a question. And it's about the plates and the utensils and the stuff in the kitchen I use. Here it is. If holy eating equals no eating milk stuff and meat stuff together at the same time, can I use the same plate for milk stuff and for meat stuff if the milk stuff and the meat stuff is eaten at different times? I know I can't have that together at the same meal. That would not be considered kosher eating. That would not be considered holy eating. But what about if I had my meat stuff on my plate and then I washed it off and then later I had my milk stuff? Could I do that? That's a really good question. I want you to take a vote as a class, put in your tally marks for yes and no. Yes, you can, or no, you can't. And now we're going to learn kind of the Jewish answer to that. So here is a plate. Here is a plate in your kitchen. Now it just so happens, according to the way the Jewish law works, if you were to take up a magnifying glass and you were to look really, really closely at this plate, you would notice that there are a lot of holes. Now, it's not such an easy thing to see. You'd have to get really, 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 really close. And you notice there are a lot of holes. And those holes, what they do is when something is on this plate, those holes kind of absorb or take in some of the taste of whatever that food is on that plate, and it goes into those holes. Then all of a sudden, so now we have all of that taste of that meat stuff in the holes. Then all of a sudden, if that plate gets hot for some reason, it's like an alarm clock that wakes up the taste that was on it before. It remembered what was on it before because the taste went into those little holes. And then there's an alarm clock that wakes it up again. And what is the alarm clock called? That's called hotness. So if I have something like an ice cream on that plate, well, even though it has in the holes are some meaty stuff, that meaty stuff doesn't get awake because the alarm clock only works when there is hot stuff, right? So the alarm clock doesn't work, so this is fine. But if I put a hot pizza on there, oh my goodness, the alarm goes off because that's hot pizza. And all that meat stuff comes back, and all of a sudden it's as if I was eating my milk stuff and my meat stuff together because it doesn't just come up, it gets absorbed into the pizza. So now my pizza is part milk and part meat, and that's a big no-no. And let's try it the other way. So here it is, again, a plate that has a bunch of holes in it. Now I put a pizza on there, and all of the pizza milky stuff is going, like the cheesy stuff and cheesy taste is going into these holes in the plate, and then now they're in those holes. And now what's going to wake up those holes again, and the cheesy stuff is heat. So if I put on a cold meat sandwich, that's cold. It's not going to wake up those milky stuff in there. But if I put a hot piece of chicken, the heat's going to be like an alarm clock, and it's going to the wake up the old pizza stuff that was in there, and all of a sudden my chicken I'm eating has a little bit of dairy stuff in it, and that is a no, 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 no. That's like eating milk stuff and meat stuff together. Now, by the way, and it's not just a plate that has these holes in it. It's also our utensils like forks and knives and spoons. If we look at them really carefully, we would see that there are also these holes, and when they get touched with stuff that's hot, that hot stuff goes inside it. And not just that, but also pots and pans also have these holes in it, and the stuff of the food, the taste of the food goes inside it and gets kind of trapped in it and comes back out when there's heat. Now, there's one type of plate or of pan or of top that does not have holes like this in it where stuff get absorbed, and that's it right here, a glass plate or a glass bowl or a glass something has no holes in it at all. As much as we look, as much as we look. So even if we were to put hot stuff on here that's meat, the meat holes don't take in the meat flavor. Even if we were to put hot stuff of dairy like a pizza, there's no holes to kind of bring in that flavor. So actually there is one type of plate, one type of pot that you could use for both milk and for meat, and that is if it is glass. But normally, you're going to need one pot for meat stuff and one pot for dairy stuff, one set of utensils for meat stuff, one set of utensils for dairy stuff, one set of plates for meat stuff, and one set of plates for dairy stuff, unless these plates are glass. That's really confusing, but that's how Jewish law works. I'm sorry it's so confusing, but if you have any questions, you can send me your questions and I'll be happy to respond.